They always said I'm wrong, but what they doing today? I think they want me gone, but I ain't going away. They told me I was wrong, but look at my ass today. Da 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 da.
Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim for TheRealSportsTalk.com. Again, check out TheRealSportsTalk.com. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/TheRealSportsTalk, and hit me up on Twitter at CashKelly, KASHKelly_TRST. I polled everyone on Twitter this week saying that I wanted to do a comparison video, but that I did not know who to compare. So I got some great responses. I got Cam Newton versus Michael Vick. I got someone wanted me to compare Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony, even though we know that Kevin Durant's a better overall player. Just compare their games individually. But the best one was sent to me by @Tricity, TRISITY, or no, TRISITY_. Shout out to her. Go follow her, saying, why don't you compare Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook? It's an interesting comparison. Obviously, Derrick Rose missed pretty much the entire playoffs after Game 1 last year. The Bulls got upset after he tore his ACL. They got upset by my Sixers. But Derrick Rose still trying to get back from the ACL. We don't know how explosive he's going to be once he is able to get back from that ACL. But when he is able to get back, we're doing this video based off what Derrick Rose was pre-ACL injury. I don't know what he's going to be right now, but I'm just going off the assumption that he is as good as he was pre the injury, because I just don't know how to determine how he's going to be afterwards. And then you're also looking at Russell Westbrook, a guy who's coming off a season that was really good. I think it was borderline top 5 MVP worthy, but at the same time there were a lot of critics, and some of it's justified, some of it's not. I'm going to decipher these two guys, break down their games, and it's really going to be an interesting comparison. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit of a bio about them, tell you their statistics last year, and then take all their statistics from their best seasons, and then just go through a few questions and ultimately decide Derrick Rose or Russell Westbrook. So Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose both came out in the same draft class in 2008, I believe. Derrick Rose out of Memphis was the first pick, he is 23 now, 4 seasons in the NBA. He was the number 1 overall pick that year. Russell Westbrook, who's also 23, he was picked number 4 by the Seattle Supersonics. Never actually played for the Sonics because after that season, the Sonics moved to Oklahoma City, obviously. Derrick Rose had 3 really healthy seasons to begin. I think he played something like 79, 81, and 79 games before last year, where he played something like 39 games. So the first 3 seasons of his career, pretty healthy. I mean, he missed a game here or there, but that's how most things go. Russell Westbrook in his NBA career has actually never missed a game, and it's tough when you have a guy that is that explosive every night to not pull your hamstring or not have any nagging injuries, and you hope that that doesn't happen to Russell Westbrook almost the way it seems to have happened with Derrick Rose. So that's a bit of a bio. Last year, their numbers, we'll start with Russell Westbrook, who, remember, he's got Kevin Durant, Serge Ibaka, James Harden in a breakout season last year. Last year, Russell Westbrook averaged 23.6 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 4.6 rebounds, shot 45.7% from the field. That was a big improvement over what he did early on in his career. And then he also had a .31, it would actually round up to 32, 3-point percentage, and then a .82 free throw percentage. Not terrible. It's not among the league leaders, though. You go over to Derrick Rose, what he did last year, averaged 21.8 points per game, 7.9 assists. The assists were up. The points were down from his MVP season 2 years ago when he averaged 25 points. And then 3.4 rebounds for Derrick Rose last year. So based off last season, remember, Derrick Rose only played 39 games. Prior to tearing that ACL, he just had a rough overall regular season with a lot of nagging injuries. Prior to tearing that, Russell Westbrook beat him in points, was not the same with assists, and then rebounds-wise, Russell Westbrook had more rebounds, and he is one of the guys, similar to Rajon Rondo, who you see get in with the big guys and go up for a lot of the rebounds, which traditionally point guards didn't do, but we're seeing more and more explosive type point guards like Russell Westbrook. Not to say Derrick Rose isn't explosive, but he's more of a traditional style point guard than what Russell Westbrook is. What I did for the best season was I didn't take the numbers from the season that I thought was the best, but I just took all their best numbers, their career highs and everything. So, and actually one number I do want to throw out there first. Last season, 3.6 turnovers per game for Russell Westbrook, and then 3.1 for Derrick Rose. So Russell Westbrook is considered a guy that turns the ball over a lot, and he does. So he had 0.5 more turnovers per game last year. Take that how you want it. Derrick Rose's numbers last year, we'll begin with this, or his best numbers overall, I should say. 25 points per game on the dot, 7.9 assists, 4.1 rebounds. That's compared to Russell Westbrook, who's 23.6 points per game, 8 assists, or 8.2 assists, I should say. And remember, Derrick Rose gets a lot more of these assists, or a lot less of these assists in transition than Russell Westbrook does, because Derrick Rose is the best player on his team. Russell Westbrook, at least at this point, is not. And I'm not sure that he ever will be, but I don't think it's as impossible as a lot of people would lead you to believe. So rebounds-wise, or field goal percentage-wise, we'll go to that next. The best season for Russell Westbrook, he shot 48.9%. Or Derrick Rose shot 48.9%. That is really impressive. But again, it dipped last year, and that was in his MVP season where he averaged that. He really has not been that close to having that number. When you have a point guard who's going to shoot as much as Derrick Rose, having 48.9% is really good. But it also probably means that you're not scoring as many points as your team may need you. So it might be better off having the 45% type year that I believe he did have in his MVP season. The 48.9 was actually his second year in the NBA. So Russell Westbrook in his best season had a 45.7 field goal percentage. And for as much as he shoots, that's pretty impressive. I know a lot of people get on him about as much as he shoots, but Kevin Durant has said it. It's an integral part of that Oklahoma City Thunder offense. From threes, Derrick Rose's best season, he shot 33%. Russell Westbrook shot 31%, but it would round up to 32%. So it's not a huge difference there. And from the free throw line, Derrick Rose, his best season, he shot 85% compared to 84% for Russell Westbrook. Derrick Rose would actually round up to 86%. It's 85.8%, so it would round up. And then turnovers-wise, in their best season, Russell Westbrook had 3.4 turnovers. In Derrick Rose's worst season, he had 3.9. Russell Westbrook's best. My bad. 3.9 turnovers in Russell Westbrook's best season, 3.4 for Derrick Rose. So what that means essentially is that, yeah, Russell Westbrook turns it over. And what I did for the turnovers was I actually took the year where they had the most turnovers. So Russell Westbrook was able to cut down on a lot of the turnovers last year. I know that 0.3 doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually is. So I put a few questions here at the bottom that I wanted to answer to pretty much end this debate. Because, both these guys are great point guards. When I say, who would I like to run my team? Who would I like to stand out there, be the traditional point guard, feed my team the ball? As much as Russell Westbrook actually kind of does that job more because he has a better team around his team, or around him, I'd like Derrick Rose to do that because he's more of a traditional point guard. Reminds me a lot of Allen Iverson, who I guess you wouldn't say traditional point guard, but not the style Russell Westbrook is, where Russell Westbrook, yeah, he plays the point, but in a lot of cases he's almost more of a shooting guard. So I'll take Derrick Rose to run my team, distribute the ball. More likely to be an MVP from here on out, I think it's Russell Westbrook, actually. And it's going to be tough because when we see all these teams have the stars together, in Miami in LeBron's first year, many people, myself included, thought that he had a very good case for MVP. He was kind of written off just because he was playing with Wade and Bosh. I think it will be the same way for Dwight Howard this year. He could have an MVP type season, but people will say, well, it's still Kobe's team. And then in Oklahoma City, I think Russell Westbrook could have the best season, but Kevin Durant's always going to be the guy that shoots at the end. He's always going to be the last guy out in the warm-ups, and he's always going to be considered the best player on that team. So while there is that, I'm just not sure Derrick Rose is going to be able to stay healthy. I hope he can. He's one of my favorite players to watch. I've kind of modeled my individual game off Derrick Rose because I love the floater. That is just such a beautiful floater. You've seen guys even like LeBron James copied that floater last year. The Derrick Rose floater is a thing of beauty. But as much as I love Derrick Rose's game, the nagging injuries last year scared me. ACL is something that takes a while to come back from, but it was knee injuries last year. It was injuries to spots that don't lead you to believe that Derrick Rose will ever be able to stay healthy again. I hope he can, but I'm not going to put my money there. Russell Westbrook, I don't think has reached his peak. I think if he was on a different team where he was put him in the Chicago Bulls situation, I think Russell Westbrook could compete for an MVP. He's never going to be a guy where if he had to be the number one, that is going to shoot a great percentage. You're talking about an MVP type year for Russell Westbrook, it's probably going to be closer to a 43 type shooting percentage, because to win the MVP he's going to have more points, which means he's going to be taking more shots. So he's shooting 45% now. The assists would probably come down because you're not getting as many opportunities with Kevin Durant. And I know Serge Ibaka is not a great offensive player, but he's a big body. Kendrick Perkins is one of the best guys that pick and roll in the NBA. And then James Harden, who can stand out at three. He can drive. James Harden even can take over a game. So certainly, I don't think that there's any question who's on the better team here, who is the better supporting cast. It's obviously Russell Westbrook. But I think that in terms of more likely to be an MVP, I think it's Russell Westbrook, even though Derrick Rose has won one already. I think it's more likely to be. And the final thing, who would I take for the next 5 years? I think it depends what situation you're in. But as much as there are critics of Russell Westbrook, I feel safer taking Russell Westbrook. I really do. Because Russell Westbrook has never missed a game in his NBA career. I mean, knock on wood. I'm not trying to curse the guy here. He's never missed a game in his NBA career. And Derrick Rose really hadn't missed any substantial amount of time until last year. So maybe this year Russell Westbrook comes out and he can't stay healthy at all. I really doubt it. But it's certainly a possibility. So you don't know that. But being that Derrick Rose is coming off such an injury-riddled year, I'll take Russell Westbrook long-term. I think Russell Westbrook has more MVP-type potential in terms of being... I think Russell Westbrook can be a top 5 player in the NBA. I don't think he is now. I think he can be. I think coming into last year, I had Derrick Rose right at 4 or 5. It's going to be interesting because there are just so many good point guards in the NBA right now. And I am going to do a video about that with all the good point guards. Talk about Steve Nash, Darren Williams, Chris Paul, Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, Rajon Rondo. I mean, the list goes on. This is a beautiful era if you like watching great point guards, because there's a complete mix of guys. You got Rajon. I'll get into this more. Point is, I'm taking Russell Westbrook over Derrick Rose because of the health reasons, because I think Derrick Rose reached his peak a few years ago. And I think that he's going to stay at a similar level to that if he's able to get back. I'm not saying like, oh, he reached his peak, he's done, I don't want him. He's still going to be one of the best players in the NBA. I think Russell Westbrook has the talent to be the best player in the NBA. I don't know if he'll be it because he's playing with Kevin Durant, because Kevin Durant's still getting better. LeBron James is going to be one of the best players, if not the best player, for a few more years now. Dwight Howard's still right there in the mix. So I don't know if Russell Westbrook will be that. I'm higher on the guy. I think he does sometimes shoot a little bit too much, but like Kevin Durant has said, they need that for the team to be successful. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook. Check out therealsportstalk.com. I'll see you guys later.
Just a little ways around the corner from fear. Be there by next year. Where I'm going.